Hey, Dad, excited we get to hang out and chat a little bit today. Let's talk a little bit about getting people off to a fast start. What do you think is the most important thing in getting someone off to a fast start?
Okay, good. Well, I'm excited about being here today, and I'm excited about talking a lot about our business.
Right.
I think a lot of the things I think when I started you, the same thing. The concept of depending upon the person you're talking to, do they want to be a superstar in this business? Do they just want a jersey, or are they just satisfied with being on the bench? It depends what they want. I think a lot of times determine what you do with them, get them off to a fast start. But just like I did you or the other superstars in the hierarchy, I want to tend to believe most people really want to be a superstar. They don't really just want the jersey. They don't want to just sit on the bench. They really want to play, and they want to play well. They just don't. They want to win. Exactly right. They just don't know if they know how. So that's our job, I think, as leaders and as coaches, to teach them how. So just like I did with you, that 30 and 30, can they do, if they can see 30 people in 30 days? I know I did that.
Right.
They broke down the 8-5-3-1 system, seeing 8 people, qualified people, getting 5 F&As, 3 people probably become clients, 1 become a recruit. And so I said, okay, if we could get people off to seeing 30 people the first 30 days, they'd probably have enough success. They'd see the presentation enough times, just like you did, to where they'd learn, they get a little more confidence, they get a little more belief, they would see it work in action. And so for me, that was the most important thing. Could I get them out in the field? And then the idea of building relationships would be, could I spend time with them in between those things? For example, like you, one of your strengths is you're great at building relationships. So when you got in the business, you started recruiting people right away. We got people to help train those people, but quickly you got trained because you saw so many people fast. But then the other thing you did was build great relationships. So I'm going to turn that back around on you. When you got started, what were some of the things you saw? And then when you got your people, and what did you see some of the things we were doing to train your people?
Yeah, the 30 and 30 was so important, something that you and Collis were talking about all the time, is you got to see those 30 people in 30 days. And there's a lot of different dynamics to the 30 people in 30 days. It's you're getting sales, you're getting recruits, you're learning the business, you're getting referrals, you're seeing somebody do it over and over again. So your learning curve, I think, is fastened a little bit. It goes a little bit quicker just due to the fact that you're able to see so many appointments in such a fast period of time, in such a short period of time. And then on top of that, I think something that's so important to get off to a fast start is to attend the trainings. You know, 30 people in 30 days, but then anybody I see that really gets off to a fast start, that really gets that fast start bonus, or that really gets a district leader as fast as possible, is that what they're doing is they're seeing a lot of people in a very short period of time, but then also at the same thing, they're going to a lot of trainings. They're attending op meetings, they're attending Saturday trainings, they're attending all those different things, and that's helping them learn quicker.
Right. Well, let me ask them. You said something right there. I think a lot of times people, there's 2 things there. You talk about getting in the field and also getting into classroom, because the things we try to do in a hierarchy is you want to do this thing simultaneous, not sequentially, but simultaneously, where they're getting trained, getting licensed at the same point in time. And so it's also similar to where we talked about what you just said, get in the field, but also get in the classroom. So, take somebody like yourself, you started at 22 years old. You didn't know anything about business, you didn't know anything about this particular, the financial world. You grew up in the business, but you didn't really know that much about what I really did.
Right.
And so if you look at it, how do you deal with people? Because one of the things that people talk about is they don't have enough time, especially a new person, because they haven't seen the payoff yet. So they're asking, is there enough value in this thing? Is there going to be enough payoff for it to be put this time? So you want me to come to class, you want me to come to op meetings, you want me to come to this, you want me to come to that, and you want me to go in the field? So I know you're the same way I am. I don't want to push a lot of things on people. I think you need to lighten the load.
Right.
You've done a marvelous job of that. So what did you, because you deal with all kinds of age group people, you do.
Right.
And so, I think everybody's busy. So how do you get them to where they see the value of come to this, come to that, and get out in the field?
Well, that's the beauty about Primerica, is that you don't have to commit to X period of time.
Good.
Obviously the more time that you put in, the more that you're going to get out. It's like an investment, but it's an investment of time, right? The more time that you invest in a Primerica at the beginning, the more that you're going to get out of it in return. And so I think it's so important that even if somebody is busy, quote unquote busy, that they are, focus on maybe having a schedule or whatever it is. And a lot of people say, I want to be able to give 100%. Well, you don't have to give 100%. You just have to give 100% when you're doing it.
Right.
If you're part-time, focus on giving 100% during those hours that you are doing this part-time.
Right. So let's go back to this, because you had brought up the fact that, in the field, and then in the classroom, okay? So if you think about in the field, okay, what would you say a new person, if they're going with us, okay, what should they be doing as they're in the field? What they're at, what I'm saying, at
Absolutely.
the table or this, that, and the other, and then so like before, during, and after, what are some of the things they should really be cognizant of?
Yeah, I think a new recruit, especially if they want to get off to a fast start, whenever they're going on all these appointments, is they got to be focused on that appointment. A lot of times, and there's a lot of things these days that distract people, cell phones, TVs, et cetera. But the thing that's most important, and I think why I learned so quickly and why and how you train people so quickly, is that the people that you're training, you address this at the beginning, that they need to be taking notes. They need to be asking questions if they want to win. They need to be doing those types of things. They need to be focused on the presentation because, I wanted to see as many presentations as fast as possible. That's what I think.
And why? Why was that important?
So that I could learn very quickly, so then I can then start teaching it to others.
Okay. And I don't want to interrupt you there, but let me ask you a question, because some people, that's going to make them nervous. If we tell people up front, hey, you're going to be out there on your own soon. All of a sudden, it's like, oh Lord, I don't want to be. I don't. Some people, it's like, okay,
scared.
You grabbed it and said, okay, that's fantastic. I want to be out. It's like, teach me how to shoot. Let me go shoot. Okay,
Absolutely.
let me teach them how to swing the golf club. And let me go swing the golf club. Other people, they'd rather be more of a spectator, and it scares them to think that sometimes they're going to be thrown out there. So stay on that, and I'll bring it back to the topic. But you said that. How do you do that? How do you kind of measure that with saying not throwing too much on them too soon to where it scares them, thinking I've got to learn that. But at the same point in time, like you said, they do have to learn this if they're ever going to be out there on their own. So how do you kind of balance that?
And that's another thing that's so great about this great company is that you have options. If you need somebody to go with you many times, that can happen. But if you want to take the bull by the horns and go on several appointments with your trainer and then start doing it on your own, you can do that as well too.
Right.
And obviously we
to
have a
this
system.
day, you're extremely successful, but there's times you'll still say, hey, Dad, I got a guy coming I want you to talk to. Or there's a bigger case, what's your advice in the center? And I think that's a key thing for people to understand. This never stops. None of us, I've been in this thing for 38 years or more, and there's still things I don't know. I ask for help. And so in the early stages, I think one of the things you did, and I think you're still doing it now, you understood, I don't know everything. That's what humility is, but I do want to know, so I'm willing to be coachable, I'm willing to ask. And so would that be one of the things you advise to people up front?
Absolutely. I think it's the power of two, no matter, and it'll never change, no matter how I think anybody gets successful in this business, or no matter how successful somebody will get in this business, I think the power of two is so important to maybe get somebody else involved. Hey, if I got somebody coming up the office that I'm excited to recruit, or maybe a client that I would love for you to meet them, because it just locks them in even more. It locks the recruiting even more to see somebody else that's extremely successful or even more successful than me. I want them to see that so they can see it from all levels. And so the more people that you can get in there to meet those people and lock them in, I think that's very valuable.
That's good. Let's go back to the training part, okay? So you went on multiple appointments, and when you're sitting there taking notes, asking questions, making sure obviously they don't interrupt the person making the presentation. But and then so during the presentation, you knew up front what we were there for. You knew what you were trying to do. You're trying to learn, trying to be trained, so you can eventually train others to become self-sufficient. Still be interdependent, where you still help, still work with the upline. But then afterwards, I know you've done a great job of this. What did you do, almost like a debriefing? What did you do after the presentation?
Yeah, so after the presentation, or after a recruiting presentation, we want to discuss.
Great point, because it's
either or.
Yeah, exactly.
Either or, we want to discuss, because that's just going to help people get trained quicker, right? So we want them to ask questions. We want them to say, well, why did you say this? Or how, I liked how you reacted to this, or even give us some feedback.
Yeah.
You say, hey, listen, if you thought I could have done some things differently, let me know. But also, get them to chime in, get them to play a part in the presentation. Especially at the beginning, you don't want them talking a whole lot and going over, but you do want them involved in afterwards, as far as asking questions, and then you look at their notes. Well, show me your notes. What did you learn from this? Because that's going to help out in the long run. What I've learned so much in this business is that if I can put a little bit of time and effort in before and after training somebody, just whether it's 15 minutes, then that's going to pay off huge returns in the back end, because they're going to get trained quicker. And that's just another field trainer I have, another district, division, or regional leader that I'll have that can go out there and they're self-sufficient. They can do it on their own without myself. and that allows me to free up a lot more time to train other people.
And one last thing there. So how important is it to ride together on those appointments?
I think it's very valuable, very important, because you get that time asking questions, you get that time, that one-on-one time, that building the relationships. That's something I learned so much in you, and maybe you can hit on that here in a second, because you do a better job of that, I believe, than anybody as far as helping or teaching people and also building relationships. But that's the part where you get to know somebody better. That's the part where you get to lock arms with somebody, and then they'll start really liking you and trusting you. I think in leadership, obviously with clients, we always talk about they have to like and they have to trust you to do business. But it's the same thing with a recruit. In order for them to stick around and for them to, I think, really be one of your top leaders, they at first got to like and trust you, because you're the one they're following. And that's what people look for in leadership, is somebody that they like and that they trust. And that all starts with that, I think, that time before, maybe after appointments, riding together. And then also on top of that, time at the office, time in training, maybe a coffee or a lunch here and there, or a dinner, or having them over at your house. That relationship building is so important. So you did a lot of that. So as we close, can you hit on that maybe a little bit on what you focus on as far as building relationships from the beginning?
Yeah, and I will. And I think that's going to be a great topic for us to discuss later, because I think that's going to open up a whole new discussion. I think that's going to be fantastic. I think we got something done here, and I'm looking forward to our next time together.
Awesome.
Okay,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Awesome.